Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Let me show you how to create a shortcut on your iPhone to resize photos. MacMost is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. Now here's a topic I've talked about it before, but this time let's do it in iOS 16. Suppose you want to export some photos from the Photos app and you want to do it at a certain size and format, and then you want those to go right to a mail message or save as files or share in some other way. So let's go to the Shortcuts app and then we're going to create a new shortcut here. And we're going to name it Resize Photos. Now let's add an action here and search for the action Resize. We'll just go right for the main thing we want to do. And we find Resize Image and we'll add that. And we can see it's going to take the first parameter, image. We'll tap on that and we'll say we want the shortcut input. And then we'll tap on Receive Any. We'll change Any to Just Images. Now we're going to change from, instead of Nowhere, we're going to say Show in Share Sheet. So we can share a photo and it will go right into the shortcut. Now Resize is going to take that shortcut input and set it to a size of 640 wide by an automatic height that keeps the aspect ratio the same, knowing that it's 640 wide. But we can tap on 640 here and we can change that to ask each time. So now it would actually prompt us for the width, so we can type whatever we want. 100 pixels, 240 pixels, whatever we need for that situation. Now that we've got it the right size, let's add another action. Let's search for Convert. And we'll find Convert Image. So let's add that next. And it will automatically pick up the output from the last action, the resized image, and convert it to JPEG. We can tap here and select another format if we want, or have it ask each time if we really want. We can also tap here and change the quality and whether or not we want to preserve metadata for this photo. So if you don't want like location information to come with the new image, you could turn this off. So now that we've taken this image, resized it, converted it to JPEG, we want to share it again. So even though we started this whole thing by sharing, we want to go back to sharing. So I'm going to tap here and search for Share and just use the Share action. And that's going to pick up the output from Convert. Using the Share action allows us to do a variety of different things with the results of this shortcut. For instance, we can send it an email, a text message, we can save it to a file, we can send it right back to the Photos app. All the things you would normally find in the share sheet. So that's it. This is a really simple shortcut here. I'm going to tap Done and we can see it right there. If we want to go back in and then tap up here, we could set the icon to something more appropriate. I use the little camera icon there. And then I'll set it to a color that's easier to spot. Done. So now we've got that in Shortcuts. Let's go over to the Photos app. So in the Photos app, I'm going to go into a photo like this and I'm going to share it with the Share button at the bottom left. And then I'm going to look for the Resize Photos shortcut I just created. And you can see it's going to ask us for the width, just like we wanted. So we'll do something small here. Let's say 100 pixels. And then it's going to finish the conversion to JPEG. And now we're back at the share sheet. So now we can do what we want with it. Do we want to airdrop it, send it by a message, send it by email, save it back to the Photos app, or save it to files? As a quick way to see what we've done, let's tap Mail here and it will start a new message and you can see that image there. It's rather small because it's only 100 pixels wide. Now one of the problems with this shortcut is it will only work for one image at a time. We can't feed it multiple images. But if we make the shortcut a little more complex, we can add that functionality. So let's go back into editing in here and let's look for Repeat. And we'll select Repeat with each. Now we want to move the share action after the repeat. We want to move the convert and resize into the repeat like this. And then we need to adjust everything. So we want to repeat with each item in and we want to set that to the shortcut input. So repeat through all of the images that were sent in. Then resize is, instead of going to look at shortcut input, is actually going to look at the repeat item. So every item as it goes through the loop. And then convert here is going to take that resized image and now the end repeat comes. So every time it goes through this it's going to create a new resized converted image and add it to a list that will leave the repeat loop and then go to the next thing, which is share. So we want to switch from converted image here to instead the repeat results. Now if we run this now, it's going to ask us for the width for every image we pass in. So if we select 3 images, it will ask us 3 times for the width, which might be good if you want to have a different width for each image. But if we want to have the same width, then the way to do that is to ask before we go into the repeat loop. So I'm going to search for input and then look for ask for input. Now I want to move that up to the top just before the repeat loop starts. So it's going to ask for what? Well, not text. We want a number and then with the prompt. So we'll put something like width. And then we can tap on this little button here and set a default number. Let's do that. Let's set 240 as the default. We don't need to allow decimals and we don't want to have negative numbers for this. So done. So it's going to ask for the width. So now here where we have the size, we have this ask each time thing for width. We want to clear that out and instead we go in here and we say select variable and we're going to use the provided input that comes out of the ask. Now let's go back to the top here and make this even more versatile. You see at the top here it says receive images input from share sheet. If there's no input, continue. Let's change that to ask for and you see it automatically picks photos. So this way if we run the shortcut by itself, it will actually prompt for photos. So another way to use the same shortcut. Note there's an option here to allow you to select multiple ones when it's asking for photos. So now if we look through what it does, it's going to ask for a number here at the beginning. It's going to give the default at 240 but let you type whatever you want. Then it's going to go through a repeat loop going through each item that was passed into the shortcut. It's going to resize each of those items to the size provided by that input up there. And then it's going to convert each one of those to a JPEG image. And remember we set it up for this quality with no metadata. And every time it goes through that loop it's going to add another image to the list. And that's going to go out to the share action with all of the repeat results. So if there are 3 images, there would be 3 images that we'd be sharing. Let's give it a try. In the Photos app here I'm going to tap select at the top and I'm going to select 3 different images. And then I'm going to share and look for resize photos. It's going to prompt me here for the width. I'm just going to use the default 240 and done. And then it's going to do that for all 3 images. And you can see here at the top it says 3 images. So what do I want to do with them? So let's say we want to send them in an email message. Now we can see the email message and it's got all 3 of those images attached and they're all 240 pixels wide. Let's do the same thing but instead of sending these to mail we're just going to save them as files. So in this case let's set this to just 100 pixels wide. So really small. And then we're going to go to Save to Files and then select a destination, let's say the desktop, and save. Now if we go into the Files app and we look in our desktop folder we'll find those 3 images there. If I select one you can see how it's pretty small, just 100 pixels wide. So let's try running this another way. I'm just going to launch this shortcut without being in the Photos app. And when I do that it's going to bring up the Photos picker and I can select a couple images like this, add, it'll run this. And then I can choose how to share it. Let's share it to an email for instance. And you can see how I could do it that way. I could also be in the Files app, select an image there, then share. And because it's an image I'm going to get the same resize photos shortcut. So I can resize this and then share it how I like. So there you go. There's a very simple shortcut that's also very versatile. You can use it for a single photo, multiple photos, from the Photos app, from a file. And you can use this to share photos at any size in any number of ways that you want. I recommend that you create this shortcut on your own so you can learn how shortcuts works. And I'll include an image that allows you to see exactly the parts that you need to add. But I'll also include a link for you to easily add this shortcut to your Shortcuts app on your iPhone. Check out the post at MacMost.com for those. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.